Okay, so what I've got for you today is a homily in two parts. I'm going to give you a little bit of Rosary trivia, and then a little something else about Mary in general. So, surely you all know our most famous tool of prayer, the Rosary. So you're in Jesus math class now, so when I ask you a question, I want to hear the answer. We have 5 segments of the Rosary. I'm gonna ignore the what I call the introduction beads. The meat and potatoes of the Rosary are 5 segments. I call them decades because that's how I was taught. So other people pronounce them decades. I honestly have no idea which pronunciation is more accurate. I like decade though because decade so obviously is a measurement of time. So every decade is 1 Our Father, 10 Hail Marys, and a Glory Be. So, Jesus math class. 10 Hail Marys times 5 segments equals 50. Very good, you're doing great. And up until very recently, there were 3 segments, forgetting the vocabulary term. There are 3 sets, 3 sets of mysteries. What's 50 times 3? Did I hear 40? No, 150, yes, you're doing great. If you pray your full rosary, again, up until very recently, Pope John Paul II about, a few years ago introduced more, mysteries of the rosary. But assuming you go for the classic 3 sets, you have prayed, give or take, 150 Hail Marys. What in the Bible is there 150 of? Don't feel bad if you don't know that. If our positions were reversed, I never would have gotten this one. What in the Bible comes in a unit of 150? Very good, I heard it once. Psalms. There are exactly 150 psalms in the Bible. Back in Jesus' day, practicing Jews memorized all 150 psalms. Okay, they're songs. If I really pushed you, if I just didn't let you leave the room until you got it, I'm willing to bet most of you could recite the lyrics of about 150 of your favorite songs. Okay? If you think about it, like we never really like audit our memories like that, but hey, Piano Man, Stairway to Heaven and all that, you could get a lot of psalms that are just in your brain because you love them. The problem is, the psalms are easily memorizable in Hebrew. So, fast forward a few 100 years, you've got the early church, right? I don't know exactly what year the rosary became a thing, but basically, it was this awkward moment of history where you had a massive portion of the population as practicing Christians. But they couldn't read because literacy was kind of a rare thing, and people in, Western Europe did not speak Hebrew, and therefore they had no real chance of memorizing the Psalms the way their Jewish ancestors did. So what are you supposed to do when you want to honor your faith, when you want the Psalms, the song of the church, to be in your soul, but you can't read them because you don't know how to read and write? Your local priest knew how to read and write at the 4th grade level, but that was about it. If your village was small enough, it may not even have had a Bible, who knows? So, along comes the Rosary. And when the faithful, who can memorize the prayers of the Rosary, it's very, repetitious, you pray 150 Hail Marys as a way of saying to God, here are your 150 psalms. I can't read the psalms because I can't read and write. But the Rosary, among other things, is a way to offer to God the song of the church, the psalms, at an awkward moment of history when just reading the psalms was not really an option. And now that most of us are literate and we can read the psalms, the Rosary endures because it has been such a fantastic tool of prayer throughout the centuries. So that's my little Rosary trivia for you today. And just a little heads up, I'm going to tell the kids on Ash Wednesday, one of my Lenten goals is to have my rosary in my pocket at all times. So come Lent, if you say, Father Justin, where's your rosary? And I don't have it in my pocket, I owe you $1. Okay, that's my goal. So, why do we pray the rosary now that it's obsolete in that we are literate and we can just pray the Psalms? Well, it's because Mary has a special place in our hearts. She is our mediatrix of mercy. She is the mediator of mercy on behalf of Jesus Christ. I was talking to a wedding couple, doing wedding prep, Catholic bride, Lutheran groom. And the Lutheran groom liked to argue. And he said, Father Justin, why do we need Mary and the saints? Salvation doesn't come from Mary. Salvation doesn't come from the saints. All we need is Jesus Christ. And I said, no, you're absolutely right. Mary does not save us. Mary is not God. The saints do not save us. You are correct. We only need Jesus Christ. The reason we have the saints, and especially Mary, the greatest of the saints, the reason we have them as such a loving part of our faith is because God is not asking us to kick up our feet and accept salvation as mere witnesses like we're watching a movie. He wants us to be participants. So people who are not God, the vast, vast, vast majority of us, we have a role to play in salvation history. That means you, that means me, that means St. Francis, it means the Blessed Virgin. And one thing that Mary's job is, she is the mediatrix of mercy. She helps speed along the mercy of God among people that need just a little push in the right direction. Greatest example of that, Our Lady of Guadalupe. So the Spanish start exploring Mexico. It's been pretty great. There's lots of gold in Mexico. So they're having a great time. And contrary to popular belief, the Spanish were very humanitarian to the indigenous peoples. All of that you heard, like the Spanish were just like brutal conquerors, so much of that is propaganda. So much of it. Most of the atrocities happened a little north of Mexico. However, converting the Native Americans, the indigenous peoples of North America and Central America, has always been difficult. There was huge language barriers, there was a huge cultural barrier, and the Spanish, huge Catholics, they wanted so desperately to bring these people into the faith, and they had very limited success. Very few conversions in those first early decades of the exploration of the New World. And then comes Our Lady of Guadalupe. I'm very white, and I have no real connection to Mexico. I had to read this to understand it. Our Lady of Guadalupe is not Mexican. She does not look Mexican. And by Mexican, I mean partly of Native American descent and partly of Spanish descent. This image of Mary right here has 0 Spanish features. Our Lady of Guadalupe is Aztec. She is a full-blooded Native American. She is an indigenous person in that picture. And it was a sign to those people, those new people, that they, in fact, are welcome in this new faith that has come from over the seas. And within 6 years, 8 million Aztecs were welcomed into the faith. The moral of the story is, without Mary, we have every reason to believe the Spanish would have been just as unsuccessful as anybody else in bringing an entire nation of people into the faith. That is very hard to do. It's no one's fault. Converting a people completely unlike yourself is always going to be an uphill battle. The reason Mexico is such a passionate Catholic country, it's not because of the Spanish, in spite of their best efforts. It's because our mediatrix of mercy, smiled on those people in such a unique way, they could not help but fall in love with Christ. So as we sanctify our year on this, the Solemnity of Mary, Mary is not God. We worship Jesus Christ alone. It's always good to repeat that. But we love Mary. She's the mother of Jesus, and we believe in the fourth commandment, honor thy mother and thy father. And we celebrate the fact that like so many saints, like so many good people in the world, Mary has a very direct, active participation in the unfolding of the history of salvation. So, I hope that fills your heart with delight and wonder that the history of salvation continues to unfold, and every era of history has its difficulties and challenges, but also its very wonderful surprises.